So I did EMDR therapy, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy, I believe. Have you heard about this? Yeah, I found that very effective, because what that did is that I found with traditional therapies, or even with CBT, it required me to do a lot of homework and work all the time in having to which I'm quite a work shy person, and I didn't appreciate having to constantly have to check myself in challenging and triggering situations. And what EMDR did is it truly removed the emotion that was linked to the traumatic memory or thought process. It just sort of cut it off for me. So it took out a lot of the homework for me, where I would walk into a situation that normally would trigger me, and my emotion associated to the memory that situation has triggered is now gone.
That's good.
And so it makes it mundane. Things that I used to find terrifying are boring to me.
Brilliant.
That was helpful. I had some terrible abusive experiences in the dark as a child, and I became afraid of the dark until I was 28 years old. Couldn't sleep in the dark, couldn't be alone in a house, had to check in every cupboard, under every bed, in every single room, again and again and again. I had terrible OCD around like my safety, and I couldn't really sleep. So I was sleep deprived for like basically 28 years, which made me incredibly depressed and suicidal. So I went to this EMDR therapy just for that, because I decided to move to America, and I was like, I can't go there this afraid. I can't spend my 30s as afraid as I've spent the last 3 decades of my life. And so I did EMDR therapy, and within 2 sessions, and it's so uneventful, EMDR. It's so boring and uneventful that you feel like you're being robbed of your money.
What's happening?
Because you're just watching a light just go back and forth across the wall as if you're a fucking dog, and you just sit there for an hour doing that with a therapist sitting next to you. And
Are they talking to you about stuff?
Yeah, they're sort of saying, like, what's a traumatic memory? And I would recount the heinous things that happened to me as a child, and then they'd be like, think about that thing, which is a very painful thing to do, and you start to feel like sick in your stomach sometimes. You start to feel almost physical pain. You feel very, very stressed, and you're looking at this light, and as you are looking at it, somehow the longer you keep looking at it, the feeling of pain starts to dissipate, and it never comes back. And so after I'd done 2 sessions of it, I really just thought it was bollocks. And I was like, I didn't really it hasn't changed anything. It felt very uneventful. And I went to sleep that night, and I woke up in the morning realising that for the first time in my life, I'd turned the lights off, and I hadn't triple locked my door and checked under anything. I hadn't checked anything without realising I'd just gone home, turned the light off, and gone to sleep. It takes your trauma from you like a thief in the night. That's the only way I could describe it, in a less creepy way than a thief in the night.
A nice thief.
Yeah. Like the tooth fairy giving some money and taking some trauma
redundant
teeth.
tooth.
Yeah, exactly.
And it seemed automatic. You didn't even clock it as it was happening. You didn't go, oh my God, look, I'm just laying peacefully down in bed.
No, not at all.
This